particular slogan, but both blocs were after trampling upon the real prestige and personality of humans, and also tarnishing divine characteristics. The whole world was divided into two blocks, and every nation or government had to follow one of those blocks, otherwise it lacked identity. If one wanted to actually get rid of one of these blocks, had to actually resort to the other block, and there was no other third option left for nations, two powers, and one was worse than the other, and both could be considered as the worst. Both blocs contributed to the destruction of moral values. Each bloc had its own slogan, and both blocs actually, speaking of monotheism, the divine path of prophets, and the right path of human prosperity, both blocs had sought to eliminate these values. Speaking of honesty, friendship, purity, faith, brotherhood, and the real genuine nature of humans, they tried to actually set aside these values, and they resorted to seeking power, and also the treason, and attached too much importance to wealth. They actually targeted, and they killed more than 120 million individuals in the past 100 years, and they made many more homeless and injured. They in fact created the distinction of classes, and imposed insecurity. More than 80% of the people of the world were living in poverty, in the condition close to absolute poverty, and only a few people were just filling their pockets more than before. There was an arms race, and they manufactured nuclear, biological, and atomic bombs, and in this way created threats posed to the whole world. The prestige, the wealth, and the lives of the peoples were trampled upon. But due to the blessings of God and the emergence of the Islamic Revolution and the resistance of the Iranian nation, within a short period of time, the eastern wing of this domineering system, that is Marxism and the communist systems, were destroyed and collapsed, and it became part of history, and due to the blessings of God, it will never revive again. The people are chanting slogans in support of the leadership. Due to the blessings of God, the western wing of this inhumane hegemonic system is facing a deadlock. It's a theoretical and practical deadlock in politics, economy, culture, and military might. You can see the ongoing situation in the world. They are all facing a deadlock, and they're struggling in a deadlock, in a stalemate situation, and hopefully the western wing of the hegemonic system has come to its end, and God willing, in the near future, this inhumane malicious system will also collapse. They have claimed, and they thought, that it's the end of history, and they announced that they have reached the climax of human perfection, and that in fact there is no prosperous life superior to their position and their condition, but in fact they have reached the end of history of their life. But you see that in the past 31 years, what has the Iranian nation done? Every year, a major step has been taken forward, and on every 22nd of Bahman, a new victory has been achieved. And the Iranian nation has reached a new climax. I want to remind you of the early days of the revolution. We were a nation that had just got rid of the colonialism, dictatorship, and we had just tasted real freedom and independence. But speaking of but we were fully deprived and oppressed from the military, economics, scientific, and political viewpoints, the international viewpoints. We did not have a remarkable position. I do not want to remind you of bitter realities and just remind you of the deprivations that were imposed upon us, and their acts of humiliation against the Iranian nation, and also lack of progress by the Iranian nation for 150 years due to the rule of colonialism. We were so deprived and oppressed that we were not even able to inform the world people of our views. We were a forgotten nation and a third-class nation. Even they thought at the days of the triumph of the revolution, they thought that they can actually uproot the Iranian nation within a short period of time, and this was announced by them. They had made plans, and they actually took actions for this purpose, and both blocs were coordinated and they act in a coordinated manner. But due to the blessings of God, the unity of the Iranian nation with the genuine culture of Islam, and also the bright path of the Imam and the governance of the supreme jurist, managed to nullify their plots. Today, from the scientific point of view, the Iranian nation has made considerable progress, and it has been the swiftest scientific progress in the world. Iran is treading the path of scientific progress. We are getting closer to the climax of scientific progress. Our scientists in the field of biotechnology make a new progress. They discover a new medicine. They discover a new treatment method. They come up with new innovations every week, and in the field of space technology, once we were humiliated, and they said that Iranians have to just make a simple pot. But they humiliated us, and they claimed that we cannot make progress in the field of space technology. But you see that today our scientists are making progress in the field of space technology, and just a few days ago you see that our scientists just sent living organisms to space. They made use of advanced equipment, a turtle, a mouse, and several roaches, and a worm was sent to was sent to space, and in fact they installed cameras, and actually they installed instruments, and it was an accelerating trend, accelerating the speed to space, and they made measurements, and all the data were just sent back to Earth. And these are all the measures for paving the way for the presence of Iranian astronauts in space.